Welcome to the world of science fiction where extraordinary tales come to life. Enjoy the journey. The crash shook the entire scrapyard. Jax Veld, grease smeared across his forehead, dropped his wrench and sprinted toward the smoking crater. The ship wasn't human. Its hull was sleek, obsidian black, with glowing violet veins pulsing like a dying heartbeat. Alien, and not just any alien. The insignia on the wing was half scorched, but Jax recognized it. The Imperial IV dynasty. The most ruthless conquerors in the galaxy. He hesitated. If the pilot was alive, they'd kill him on sight. But the ship's engine sputtered, leaking coolant that hissed against the sand. If it blew, his entire outpost would vaporize. Gritting his teeth, Jax pried open the hatch with a crowbar. Inside, the cockpit was a mess of shattered glass and flickering holograms. The pilot was slumped over the controls, tall, armored in onyx plate, with silver hair matted by blood. Female, maybe. Alien biology was tricky. Then her hand twitched, and a blade snapped out from her wrist, pressing against Jax's throat before he could blink. "Identify," she growled, her voice like grinding metal. Jax Veld, engineer, not your enemy. He kept his hands visible, heart hammering. "Your ship's about to melt down. Let me fix it, or we both die." Her glowing violet eyes narrowed. "You're human." She said it like a curse. "Yeah. Lucky you." He nodded at the sparking console. "That's a fractured plasma conduit. 5 minutes max before it cooks off." She studied him, his calloused hands, the patched-up overalls, the lack of fear. Then, slowly, she retracted the blade. "Fix it." Jax didn't need to be told twice. He dove under the console, splicing wires with a speed that made her hiss in surprise. "You're not using tools." "Don't need him." He grinned, twisting two stripped cables together. "Human specialty. Making junk work." The engine's whine stabilized. The alien warlord, because that's what she had to be, watched, unreadable, as Jax wiped his hands. "You're Kess Vhor, aren't you? The one who glassed Xeraxis." Her posture went rigid. "You should be begging for mercy." "Why? You need me alive." He tapped the ship's cracked thruster array. "This bird won't fly without a full repair. And guess what? I'm the only mechanic in 500 clicks." A slow, dangerous smile curled her lips. "Then you've just volunteered, human." Outside, the twin moons rose. Jax swallowed. He'd bought time. But now he was trapped with a predator who thought humans were vermin. Time to prove her wrong. The air inside Kess Vhor's warship smelled like burnt metal and something sharp. Ozone, maybe. Jax wiped his hands on his already filthy overalls, eyeing the damage. The ship was a Dreadfang-class cruiser, one of the Empire's deadliest, or at least it had been deadly. Now it limped like a wounded beast, its systems flickering in protest. Kess leaned against the bulkhead, arms crossed, watching him like he might try to bolt. "You have 3 cycles to make it space-worthy," she said. Jax snorted. 3 cycles? "Lady, this thing needs a full dry dock overhaul." Her eyes narrowed. "Then you'd better work fast." He sighed, running a hand through his grease-streaked hair. "Look, I can patch it up enough to fly. But if you want it battle-ready, I need parts. Real parts. Not scrap." Kess tilted her head, considering. Then she tapped a command into her wrist display. A holographic map flickered to life above her arm, showing a cluster of blinking red dots. "There's an Imperial supply depot 2 sectors from here. We raid it. You get what you need." Jax's stomach dropped. "You want me to help you steal from your own empire?" She smirked. "You'd prefer I leave you here?" Damn, he was stuck. But if he played this right, fine. "But I need tools. Proper tools." Kess gestured to a rusted locker. Inside were precision instruments, plasma torches, microcalibrators, even a molecular welder. All Imperial tech. all way beyond what Jax usually worked with. He whistled. You looted an engineer's stash. Recovered, she corrected. From a trader. Jax didn't ask what happened to the trader. He got to work. The human way. Kess watched as Jax worked, not with the methodical precision of Imperial engineers, but with a chaotic, almost instinctive rhythm. He didn't consult schematics. He didn't run diagnostics. He listened to the ship, tapping panels, muttering to himself, then attacking problems with a mix of brute force and terrifying creativity. At one point, he bypassed a fried neural relay by chewing on a wire strip and shoving it into a port. Kess's brow arched. What are you doing? Making it work, he said around the wire. That's not. The console beeped. The relay lit up. Kess stared. Jax spat out the wire. Human solid is conductive in a pinch. She looked equal parts horrified and impressed. The warlord's curiosity. Over the next cycle, Kess found herself asking questions. Why don't you use the diagnostic array? Takes too long. Why do you hit it? Sometimes things just need a good whack. She scowled. Your methods are inefficient. Jax grinned. But they work. And they did. The ship's systems stabilized. The engines hummed instead of screamed. Even the weapon arrays, which had been dead, flickered back online. Kess watched him in silence for a long moment. Then, your people are not what I expected. Jax wiped his hands. Yeah, what did you expect? Weakness. He laughed. Nah, we're just lazy. Why do things the hard way when the easy way works? Kess didn't answer. But for the first time, she wondered if her empire had made a mistake, dismissing humans as primitive. Because this wasn't inefficiency. This was genius. The raid. The supply depot was a floating fortress, bristling with turrets. Jax's palms sweat as Kess's ship lurked in the asteroid belt nearby. You're sure this'll work? He muttered. Kess didn't look at him. No. Great. She activated the comm. This is High Commander 4. Authorization code Eclipse 79er. Requesting emergency resupply. A pause. Then. Acknowledged, Commander. Proceed to Bay 12. Jax blinked. You just lied to them. Kess smirked. I didn't lie. I am High Commander 4. But you're. Falling from grace does not erase rank. Her voice was ice. They docked. Jax kept his head down as Kess strode ahead, her presence alone clearing a path. No one questioned her. No one even looked at Jax. They'd reached the parts depot. Jax stuffed his bag with everything he could. Plasma coils, thruster stabilizers, even a microfusion battery. Then alarms blared. ANTURUDER Unauthorized access in CCTR4. Kess's head snapped up. We've been made. Jax's blood ran cold. How? She grabbed his arm. Doesn't matter. Run. They sprinted back to the ship, blaster fire searing the air around them. Jax barely made it inside before Kess slammed the hatch shut. The engines roared to life. As they shot into the void, Jax gasped. They'll follow us. Kess's hands flew over the controls. Let them. Then she did something Jax didn't expect. She smiled. The moment Kess's warship hit open space, Jax knew they were in trouble. Sensors screamed as 3 Imperial interceptors locked onto them, their plasma cannons charging. Kess's fingers danced over the controls, her expression unreadable. Hold on. The ship lurched into a spiraling dive, narrowly avoiding the first volley of fire. Jax gripped the console, his stomach lurching. You knew they'd find us. He shouted over the alarms. Kess didn't answer. Instead, she punched in a command, and the ship's cloaking field flickered to life. The stars outside blurred as they vanished from scanners. Jax gaped. You had that the whole time. Of course. Kess smirked. But I wanted to see what you'd do. His blood ran cold. She was testing me. The trap. They hid in the shadow of a gas giant, engines silent. Jax's hand shook as he checked the stolen supplies. "You're not just fixing this ship," Kess said suddenly. "You're sabotaging it." Jax froze. She turned, her violet eyes burning into him. "The thruster stabilizers you installed. They'll fail under combat stress. The plasma coils. Overheat in 12 cycles. You've been weakening my ship." Jax swallowed. "Yeah, I have." Kess's blade snapped out, pressing against his throat. "Why shouldn't I kill you?" "Because you need me," Jax said, forcing his voice steady. "And because I'm not the only one lying." Her grip tightened. "Explain." Jax took a shaky breath. "You're not just some rogue warlord. You're running from your own empire. That's why they're hunting you. And I think you want them to." Silence. Then, slowly, Kess lowered the blade. "You're smarter than you look, human." "The truth." Kess paced the dimly lit cockpit. "The Empire calls me a traitor. But they betrayed me." Jax stayed quiet, letting her talk. "I conquered worlds for them," she hissed. "Burned cities. And what was my reward?" Her claws flexed. "Exile. Because I questioned the Emperor's orders once." Jax frowned. "What orders?" Her voice dropped to a whisper. "To glass Earth." Jax's breath caught. Kess met his eyes. "I refused. So they branded me a coward and sent assassins." Jax's mind raced. "That's why you're really here. You're not fixing this ship to rejoin them. You're fixing it to fight them." Kess smiled. "A sharp, dangerous thing. Now you understand." "The choice." Jax exhaled. "I rigged your ship to fail because I thought you were going to attack my people. But if you're really against the Empire..." Kess tilted her head. "You'll help me." Jax grinned. "I'll do you one better." He pulled out a small jury-rigged transmitter from his pocket. "I've been sending coded signals to the human resistance this whole time. They're waiting for my signal." Kess's eyes widened. "You planned this." "Not all of it," Jax admitted. "But yeah, I figured if I could stall you long enough, the resistance could ambush your ship. Now we can ambush the Empire instead." Kess stared at him. Then, to his shock, she laughed. A deep, genuine sound. "You humans, you're insane." Jax winked. "Yeah, but we win anyway." The storm approaches. The comm crackled to life. "Jax, you there?" Jax grabbed the receiver. "Lena, took you long enough. We're inbound, but we got company. Imperial fleet just warped in. 6 cruisers." Jax's stomach dropped. "How long?" 20 minutes. Kess's hands clenched. Not enough time to finish repairs. Jax met her gaze. "Then we fight with what we've got." She nodded. Together, the Imperial fleet dropped out of warp like a hammer striking an anvil. 6 obsidian cruisers, each bristling with enough firepower to level a planet, formed a perfect kill box around the gas giant where Kess's crippled ship hid. Jax's fingers trembled as he tightened the last bolt on the patched-up thruster array. "We're outgunned. Like laughably outgunned." Kess didn't look up from the weapons console. "Then we make them laugh." The comm crackled. "Human resistance fleet incoming. ETA 2 minutes." Jax let out a shaky breath. Lena and her ragtag squadron of retrofitted freighters and stolen patrol ships were brave, but they were not a match for Imperial warships. Kess suddenly stood, her claws flexing. "We need a distraction." Jax wiped grease from his forehead. "Got any bright ideas?" A slow, feral grin spread across her face. 1. The Warlord's Gambit. Kess opened a channel. Unencrypted. "Imperial forces, this is High Commander Kess Vhor." Her voice was steel wrapped in velvet. "I am invoking the Rakfor challenge." Jax stiffened. "The what?" The comms exploded with static before a cold, mechanized voice responded. "Challenge recognized. State your terms." Kess's eyes gleamed. Single combat. Your champion against mine. If we win, you let us pass. If you lose, she bared her teeth. You still let us pass because I'll have killed your champion. Jax choked. What the hell are you doing? Kess muted the mic. Buying time. The Imperial response was immediate. Acknowledged. Prepare to receive our champion. A sleek, dagger-like dropship detached from the lead cruiser and streaked toward them. Jax's stomach twisted. Okay, cool plan, except we don't have a champion. Kess tossed him a plasma wrench. We do now. The champion. Jax stared at the wrench, then at Kess. Me? You're the only other person on this ship. I fix toasters, Kess. I don't fight alien gladiators. She gripped his shoulders, her claws pricking his skin. Listen, their champion will be Varric the Sunderer. 8 feet tall, armor like a tank, but he's slow and arrogant. She pressed the wrench into his hands. And you're human. He won't expect what you do next. Jax's mouth went dry. Which is what? Kess smirked. Whatever stupid thing pops into your head. The airlock hissed open. The duel. Varric was massive. His armor was carved with trophies, skulls of species Jax didn't recognize. His voice boomed. Pathetic. The Empire sent me to crush a warlord, and they offer me a mechanic. Jax's knees shook. Then he remembered Kess's words. Make him laugh. He grinned. Yeah, big scary guy. Let's just get this over with. I've got a carburetor to fix. Varric paused. What? Jax shrugged. You know, fuel mixers. Anyway, you gonna fight or what? The giant roared and charged. And Jax dove between his legs. Varric stumbled, confused. The watching Imperial ships silent. Jax scrambled up, wrench raised. Hey, big guy, catch. He threw the wrench, not at Varric, but at the exposed power conduit above him. The sparking metal struck true. Electricity arced down, engulfing Varric in a storm of blue fire. He collapsed, twitching. Silence. Then, over the comms. Challenge conceded. Jax blinked. That worked. Kess's voice crackled in his earpiece. Told you. The trap springs. A new voice burst over the comm. Lena's. Jax, we're here. And we brought friends. Space rippled as a dozen human ships, and 3 rebel Vhor cruisers, warped in, guns blazing. Kess's breath caught. My loyalists. They came. The Imperial fleet, caught off guard, scrambled to respond. But it was too late. Jax sprinted back to the cockpit as Kess fired up the engines. We're not done yet, she growled. That lead cruiser. It's the Emperor's blade. And it's mine. The ship rocketed forward, weaving through the chaos. Jax gripped his seat. Remind me never to play cards with you. Kess laughed, wild, untamed, as the stars blurred into war. The Emperor's blade loomed ahead, a monstrous warship, its hull polished black as a funeral shroud. Kess's hands tightened on the controls. That's where it ends, she said quietly. Jax swallowed. You sure about this? Kess didn't answer. Instead, she opened a channel, broadcast to the entire fleet. 4 warriors, she snarled, her voice echoing across the comms. You followed me once. Now I ask again, who do you serve? Static. Then, one by one, the Imperial ship's weapons powered down. Jax gaped. They're surrendering. Kess's lips curled. No, they're choosing. The Emperor's wrath. The blade's hangar doors yawned open. A single figure strode onto the deck, tall, clad in gold and onyx, his face hidden behind a snarling mask. The Emperor. Kess stood, her claws unsheathed. Stay here, she ordered Jax. Like hell, he shot back, grabbing a plasma cutter. You don't get to die alone. She stared at him. Then, for the first time, her rigid posture softened. Stubborn human. They stepped into the hangar together. The last truth. The Emperor's voice was a distorted rasp. Kess Vhor, my wayward daughter. Jax's blood turned to ice. Daughter? Kess didn't flinch. You stopped being my father when you ordered Earth's destruction. The Emperor tilted his head. Sentiment weakens empires. You proved that when you refused. He raised a hand, and the hangar's gravity tripled. Jax crashed to his knees, bones creaking. Kess snarled, fighting to stand. You see, the Emperor loomed over them. This is why humans must burn. They infect. They'd make warriors question. Jax's vision blurred, but he grinned. Yeah, we're the worst. Then he slammed the plasma cutter into the deck, right into the hangar's power conduit. The explosion blew the Emperor backward. Gravity normalized. Kess didn't hesitate. She lunged. The end of an empire. The fight was brutal. Claws against blades, father against daughter. But Jax saw the moment it changed. The moment Kess stopped fighting like a soldier and started fighting like a human. She fainted left when the Emperor expected honor. She kicked dust in his eyes when he anticipated grace. And when he staggered, she drove her claws through his mask and the skull beneath it. Silence. Then, across the fleet, a single transmission. The Emperor is dead. Long live the matriarch. Kess collapsed. Jax caught her. She looked up at him, bloodied but alive. You taught me that. Jax laughed weakly. Yeah. Well, humans cheat. A new dawn. One cycle later, Jax stood on Earth's orbital dock, watching Kess's coronation via hologram. The Vhor Empire had a new ruler, one who broke tradition by signing her first decree in front of human diplomats. Peace. Lena elbowed him. You're smiling. Jax shrugged. Told you we'd win. A shadow fell over them. Kess, no, Matriarch Vhor, stood there, her armor gleaming. Engineer, she said formally. Then, softer, Jax. He bowed. Your Majesty. She rolled her eyes. Come home. And as the stars burned bright above them, Jax realized they already had.